Today we're on beautiful South Beach at the meat market, and we're going to speak to Sarah Almand, sommelier.
Two really great fun wines to start with. The white, this is Vietti Cascinetta Winery, Moscato d'Asti 2010. This is a sparkling Moscato from the Piedmont region in northern Italy. Slightly sweet, slightly sparkling. These wines tend to be at about 5 or 6% alcohol, so they're really, really great ways to start your meal. You know, great for brunch in the middle of the day, nice for summertime. It's got a little bit of a honeysuckle, a little bit of a white tangerine zest on there, some ginger, a little sandalwood. So just a really refreshing, beautiful palate cleanser and something that I always enjoy having. The red here, this is from the region of Gigondas in the southern Rhone. I like to think of this as sort of baby declassified Chateauneuf de Pape. So it's just across the river there in the southern Rhone. Same varietal makeup, so it's about 80% Grenache, 20% Syrah, and the Grenache vines are about 100 years old. So old vine Grenache gives a lot of depth, a lot of concentration, and a lot of layers and complexity to the wine. So this is just really beautiful wild strawberries, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of lavender. Think of all the herbs de Provence that grow down in the south. So get a lot of that. So a good balance between fruit and earth. So
I know you do your thing. Am I supposed to swirl this one?
you can swirl.
With
bubbles, you don't
Not really.
necessarily
Right.
always
Okay.
need to swirl, but with your whites, absolutely.
Okay. Nice. It's so hot outside. How long have you been a sommelier?
I became certified through the Court of Master Sommeliers. I took my test in Vegas about 5 years ago. And there's several different levels, the top being, of course, Master Sommelier. And there are a couple different organizations, but for me, that's the most valid and the most reputable for restaurant sommeliers. So, you know, there are different educator. You can become a master of wine, certified wine educator. So those are other avenues that are a little bit more for an education focus, a teaching role with wine.
I guess now your career is dedicated to wine. So has it always been a part of your life?
I have. My parents are big wine drinkers. They're not collectors. They're not super sophisticated by any means. They buy cases of whatever is, you know, cheap and fun and quaffable and everyday wine. But, you know, I grew up getting to, you know, taste some wine a little bit as I got older. And I've worked in restaurants forever. I was, you know, hostessing when I was 16, 17, waiting tables through college. So I've had exposure to wine for a long time and had an interest in it. And in college, I was the one that was always running around with a big magnum of Robert Mondavi Woodbridge cab when everyone else was drinking PBR and Natty Light. So
You mentioned that you've changed 50% of the wine program to be more towards what you like. What would you say are some of your favorite wine pairings here at Meat Market?
one of my favorites actually is our American Kobe beef tartare. It's just absolutely delicious. It's a pretty classic recipe, pretty classic French recipe, just with a little spin on it. I found that my favorite pairing for it is a really beautiful, dry, full-bodied rosé. So I pour this by the glass. This is called Saint-André de Figuières. It's from the Côte de Provence. And the reason why I think it works really well with that is it is Syrah based, so you actually get a lot of body and a lot of spice from it. And then it's backed up by Cabernet, whereas you normally have a little bit more of a delicate style rosé from that area. Another pairing that I really enjoy, I'm a huge fan of skirt steak. And though I like the classic, you know, churrasco and the Argentinian steakhouses, we do an American Kobe skirt steak. So it's Black Angus crossbred with the Japanese Kobe cow. So really, really highly marbled, very, very flavorful, lots of texture, just really juicy when you bite into it. So the classic would be, of course, to go to Malbec, since, you know, Argentina, that those two go together. However, I've got one that I really like, and since our skirt steak is so rich, as I said, and has a lot of marbling, this is a Carmenere, which is a grape that is kind of really up and coming in Chile. So Argentina's neighbor. This is from Montes Winery. It's called Purple Angel, and it's a really high-end, real full-bodied Carmenere. Carmenere was originally from the Bordeaux region, thought to be extinct, and rediscovered and genetically proved to be Carmenere about 10 years ago, I want to say. It's also blended with about 8% Petit Verdot, which gives it a lot of big, blackberry, blueberry, spice, gives it a little bit more structure and power and beefs it up. So just a really, really fun pairing. The flavors work very well with our Kobe skirt steak.
Sometimes people get nervous with the sommelier because they don't know a lot about wine. So what advice could you give somebody who might not know a lot?
I mean, I think it's really important. Myself, my approach is, I think that because I'm a female, I have a little bit of a softer approach. I don't have the hard sell approach.
Right.
I think that the world of sommeliers is really shifting, and people need to understand it's not a bunch of old, snobbish, Englishmen running around in suits with, little taste de vin cups around their neck trying to, sell you a 1982 Chateau Lafite. I think most of us are younger, we're really in it because we love it, we're excited about it, we're passionate about it, and we want to teach people about it. So, but I think, have a price range that you want to give people. Say, I'd like my wine, I'd like to spend this much. If you can tell me something really amazing, I'd be willing to maybe spend this much, but let the somm know where you want to go, and then ask them for 3 different options, in the style of wine that you're looking for.
Good advice.
Price is good. It's very hard to
good.
Read people when they say, I want a great red wine.
Right.
Okay, do you want to spend $60 or do you want to spend $1,600?
Right.
There's great wine across that range.
What's your latest food obsession? Completely not related to wine.
Gosh, I'm a huge lover of Asian food, especially all those years of living out in San Francisco. Just so much great Vietnamese and Korean and Chinese, and Miami's still got a ways to go, in my opinion. I'm looking for things that are really focused on doing one kind of Asian food. So, Yako-san restaurant up in North Miami, they do, spicy kimchi dishes and, noodle bowls and just really authentic, traditional Korean, Vietnamese kind of fusion. Zuma, for something a little higher end, is kind of a step up from that. So, I really like people that are doing Asian fusion, they're doing it right, and they're building on traditional recipes.
I want to do a final cheers. I've
You're welcome.
definitely
Thank you for having me.
Learned a lot. Cheers.
Cheers.